new students to Augsburg College. It is great to be here on Moving Day.
At Augsburg College, we believe we are called to serve our neighbor. It's our bold vision for the 21st century, but it's a vision that has come up and out of our history as a college. And this vision, which we claim as very real and concrete in our daily life, is also a vision that we find illustrated throughout the history of the college.
When Minneapolis really starts to take off is after the Civil War. And many of the leaders understood that there would be a huge influx of Scandinavians. And one of the leaders in town understood that it would be good to have a school here. And so he began to talk with Ole Paulsen, who's considered the grandfather of Augsburg. And Ole Paulsen began pushing for the land in Cedar Riverside to become a place for this college, just starting at Marshall, Wisconsin. Leaders did know that here was going to be the center of Scandinavian life and culture, so they wanted to have this Scandinavian college here. That made the Cedar Riverside Avenue what was once called Snooze Boulevard, a very active and culturally significant place.
Acknowledging the history of where it's been and where a lot of these notions come from, like service, that's a huge thing that, you know, if you just say, oh, we're into service, that again sounds kind of like a marketing scheme. But really it's based on, you know, why Augsburg was founded.
They came here as very, very poor people and no educational background. So when Georg Sverdrup came to Augsburg, one of his principles was that we want to lift up this student who's had no opportunity before and make sure that they get a really strong grounding. So this was an opportunity to bring democracy into education.
The social consciousness of Augsburg comes because it has this pietistic background. And that's hard for people to understand because that particular movement seems conservative in this country. But in Europe, the pietists are the liberals. That's what the Sverdrups were. They were the liberals.
That kind of immigrant sensibility is not apparent to us anymore in the Norwegian community, but it's very apparent in the new immigrants that we see throughout the Cedar Riverside neighborhood. You know, they call this Little Ellis Island, and I think that's very apt because after the Danes and the Germans and the Czechs, Bohemians moved on, now we get the new wave, and we've got Latinos, and we've got the Somalis. And so it's still very much a place where people come to start over.
I think we're really fortunate to be in the community where we are because we can walk a couple of blocks and interact with people from all over the world.
Right away I had the opportunity to take a Human Community and Modern Metropolis class and was kind of sent out into Cedar Riverside to look at the neighborhood physically and then also start to meet people.
And I think that this concept of education for service, that is a motto that has been long used for the college, is really lived out because of where we're located.
The ideals that were set in place by the Lutheran faith, now they're ideals that have been kind of customized to our college and to our locations.
What did it mean for the college to be a part of that community? And the Gateway, it's such a pleasure now because I'm pretty active in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood to go to meetings in which people can't say enough positively about the way Augsburg oriented that building toward the community.
I came to Augsburg and I knew that I really wanted to find a way to combine like work in the church as well as social issues. So that really led me to do urban studies and youth and family ministry. And I just had a phenomenal experience. Lots of ways to use education in very practical, hands-on fields.
I think that academic rigor is, in Augsburg's history, directly linked to the sense that we need to be the best we can be because we are providing this education for people who wouldn't get it otherwise. We've got to do it right.
This is a place where the mind is going to be stretched and people are going to be prepared because it was that thought of entering into society. First it was a kind of a preacher school, you know, to prepare. So preachers were qualified to go in and hold their own academically. But then later, then it was this, we also have to train the best scientists and the best doctors, possible to enter into society.
Like Bernard Christensen, he was an advocate for the sciences and making sure that it's rigorous science, academic thought.
The tradition itself was deeply imbued with Bernard Christensen's wisdom that the Christian faith liberates minds and lives.
Lutheranism has really supports that academic knowledge or that critical thinking.
I think it's still important. You have to think about what the world is like and about your place in it.
The strong connection between faith and learning and our belief that you actually can't separate those two things, and I think you'll find that also to be a very real part both of our history and of how we teach students today.
I've had the opportunity to volunteer with a program called the Campus Kitchens Project. Being an RA, all of those extracurricular ways of learning, as well as ways of learning in the classroom and discussing ideas and bringing what we saw out in the world back to the classroom and putting those questions from our community in conversation with theological thinkers or sociologists, and that balance was really, really fruitful at Augsburg.
It's finally about what do you know that's useful? What do you know and can do that helps our society be a better place, a more fair place, a more just place?
The fact that we live in the most diverse zip code between Chicago and Los Angeles gives us wonderful opportunities every day to know our neighbor right in our own neighborhood. But it also is an illustration that we believe that our neighbors live throughout the world. And in fact, Augsburg's connections through its Center for Global Education to Namibia, to Mexico, and to Latin America give us daily reminders that our neighbors are not just here, but they are all around us. And we take that vision very seriously. We believe we are called to serve our neighbor.
To feel like I'm fulfilling a calling, and hearing that Augsburg, has this vocational aspect of it, it's just kind of tied very well in together.
I've done biodiesel research where, the whole aspect of that is environmental concern and just service to the world.
It's also really helped me figure out what I'm passionate about, and that's working with people.
Really, all of our education, both in the classroom, outside the classroom, on campus, out in the community, is about helping our students to discern and understand the calls they have to life in the world.
I kind of helped start this women's group, including myself and another professor and a group of about 4 or 5 Somali women. We would come together and we would eat, and I would prepare some English lessons and some activities because one of the main things that they wanted to do is work on their English.
Our founders of Augsburg wanted to educate immigrants, like farmers, right, who were living in this area. And that was the sort of thing that people didn't really care about that much because higher education wasn't for common people. And it gives the term access a whole different meaning. I was raised in a very poor family. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and I graduated when I was 36 years old. And I really never believed that I would have a college degree because it's expensive.
But our programs today, for example, Step Up, which is for students who are recovering from chemical dependency, or the Class Office, the programs for students who have learning and other emotional disabilities. These are populations that we really want to serve.
A program called Scholastic Connections, and that's really a program that was implemented for minority students here.
First generation, we have 2 federal grants from the TRIO program in Washington that allows us to encourage students who otherwise would not come to college to be part of our student community.
We have, Pan-African Student Union, Pan-Asian, and Hispanic Latino organization where they offer scholarships. And like I was talking about, Scholastic Connections. These are just a number of programs where they help fund students in furthering their education.
So I think that goes directly back to the concept of access that Augsburg had in its founding years.
I have experienced really a laboratory that was open for us to try different things.
It actually encouraged, great dialogue.
Our professors are smart, but they also, more importantly, know how to teach and know how to engage students.
Recognizing that mutual relationship.
They knew my name, they knew about me, they wanted me to learn, they wanted to know what I was wondering, and I felt like people wanted me to succeed.
It's just so important to see the democratic impulse in the college, the sense of serving the student that you get in front of you, and the commitment to high-quality education, because you owe it to these people to give them the best start that you can.
Augie is an action verb. I think it really kind of gets to the point of what we're trying to do, prepare students who know that life is about living out their commitments.